ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on with the contest. Can I ask you to welcome to the stage this evening our test speaker, Samantha Richards. Unsung heroes, Samantha Richards.
Imagine, if you will, running through your life through an African village on a 45-degree day with sweat pouring down your face and bullets whistling past your ears. In your arms, you're cradling a bleeding little girl who, along with her entire family, was shot down before your very eyes. You have no weapon and you're not a soldier. You're a logistics specialist for a humanitarian aid agency. And now, because of your decision to stop, 2 lives hang in the balance. You sprint as fast as you can, using up the last of your strength to reach your vehicle, your breath coming short and shallow. You're dying for water, and you can taste the sand from the whipped up red dirt. And you know that at any moment you could be on your knees, and you both will die. Yet, you keep on running, feeling the bullets whistling past your ears, and you can feel their burn as they pass. You reach your vehicle, and you drive like a maniac, and you manage to get this child to the nearest medical camp so the doctors can treat her. And you wait. Despite your best efforts, the little girl dies. And you're devastated. This same person who had tried to save such a young life because of his courage and heart was then later faced with an order from headquarters to move his medics to a safer location. What was he to do? Defying a direct order would have consequences. Yet, the responsibility of so many lives lay in his hands. On the one hand, if he obeyed, 7 critically wounded children left without medical help would most certainly die. And on the other hand, the safety of his medics was paramount. So the only thing to do was consult the doctors. He explained to them the dangers should they choose to stay behind with him, but also assured them that they would have an escort should they choose to leave. And not one of those doctors left. So headquarters orders were defied. And as a result, 4 of those children survived. Incredible. This amazing human being was hauled over the coals for his decision. But he would do it again if he had to. None of you have ever seen this unsung hero's face, nor have you heard his name, but I have. His name? Mike McKee. His incredible life story is as yet untold. He is a person whom I believe is a miracle maker, a bright shining light to follow in times of darkness. He is, to me, a human angel, sent at the right time, perhaps to the wrong place, to a war-torn nation called Darfur in Sudan, to bring hope to its horribly oppressed inhabitants. Mike went away, a boy in a man's body, and came back a man in a man's body. The warring wayward weight of a boy had become someone to be admired. He turned his life around, and in doing so, used his extraordinary gifts to help others who have no say in their lives because they are ruled by tyrants. Mike was shell-shocked by what he saw in Darfur. And as simple as this may sound, he realized how truly lucky he is. The light bulb went on, and he truly understood what his family and friends meant to him. Consequently, he made the decision to spend more quality time with his family and friends, whenever he could, because he never knew when it was going to be his last. He and many like him are the unsung heroes who never receive recognition for placing their lives in danger on a daily basis. So what is it that makes him so extraordinary? It's his humble humanitarian heart. For he expects no reward, as his rewards come from the results of his actions. Mike is my unsung hero. He is also my brother. And if he were here today, and not in another country that needed him, I'd introduce him to you, proudly, as the very man whose presence humbles me. Who's your unsung hero?
Ladies and gentlemen, Samantha Richards. George Randall. George Randall.
Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and most of all Samantha. Samantha gave us a lovely, what I thought was for her, a really emotional story. And what could be more emotional than talking about your brother? I loved the way Samantha spoke clearly. Your diction was perfect. And the way that you used eye contact throughout the speech, I really thought that was excellent as well. The opening, I thought, wow, what a terrifying situation Samantha created during the opening. I thought, where is this going to go? And it went on beautifully. And Samantha, at one stage you talked about on the one hand and on the other hand. And I really felt that was a good part of your speech, because we were able to see the both sides. And that's actually what my recommendation is going to be about. It's going to be about stage angering. And also a little bit about showing the terror. So let's start. At the very start, I'm going to start over here and talk about that I was running. I was holding this. And you were talking about, imagine you running, you're holding this baby in your hand. And this is happening. And you tell us a bit about that. Then you come to here and say, I got to the camp. And then when you get to the camp, you're now in the center of the stage. And that's the most powerful part of the stage. the audience, and you really give it to them in terms of the body of the speech. Then when you talk about a safer location, your safer location can be over here. So we want to create a safer location, but we wouldn't. And then later on, when you started talking about the child dying, you could point to where the child was originally struck down. All these things, and that with a little bit of terror and in your voice. Don't overplay it because it's not about acting. But just give that, try and be there. And feel free to show some emotion. I noticed just a tiny quiver towards the end when you're talking about your younger brother, and that's good. The audience is like that. What I loved most of all was the structure and the content of Samantha's speech. The structure was beautiful. There's a good opening, there's a good body of the speech, and the close was just superb. And so all of that, the structure and the content, really. So in summary, I loved your clear voice, the eye contact, the opening, the one hand and the other, which really interacts with the audience. That was good. My suggestion about the stage entry, so that people can position where you were in your story on the stage. And last but certainly not least, I love your structure and the content of your speech. Congratulations and thank you.
Gary Harkless. Well, thank you, Samantha, for what I thought was an absolutely amazing speech. From the very start of your speech, you captured my attention, and I'm sure everyone else is in the audience, by using such vivid and descriptive words to outline your story. I felt you didn't waste a word or a phrase throughout your speech. Each word was as if it was like a surgeon carefully cutting his way through with precision to ensure that the correct word and phrase was used at every turn of your speech. It was a speech, I thought, that allowed for such descriptive and altogether amazing words to be used. The efforts you used to describe the bullets singing past, the helplessness of the child, were very, very evocative and amazingly descriptive. If I could look at perhaps areas where, and I'm sure you will, if you were to perform this speech again, where perhaps you may want to look at doing things a little differently, it's sort of faint praise that I'm giving you anyway, because I thought your speech was so powerful that if you were to lock on various members of the audience's eyes, and almost as if to dare them to look away as you invoked such descriptive words, really drill down on them to see if you can't almost frighten them to avert your gaze as you describe your story of such bleakness. If I can get now to the fundamentals of your speech, every box was ticked, I thought. I'm a fan of the hypothetical question, and you didn't let me down. Your speech was full of the hypothetical questions, the alliteration that you used, and again I hark back to not a word, not a phrase, was indeed wasted on the audience. Every word had a meaning for it throughout the speech, and every phrase was so descriptive. Just as I've done now, I've learned from you, you managed to pause throughout your speech. You would get us to the high point in your speech and then pause, gather your thoughts and round home another point with such effectiveness. I thought that too was terrific. Samantha, your admiration for the hero of the story, Mike McKee, shone through. Indeed, his story was remarkable. But in my mind, the telling of that story was also remarkable as well. Thank you very much. Captain Scott.
Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters. Samantha, my respects to you. Thank you for coming to an alien, an unusual place to share with us the very powerful story of your brother. And the beauty of creating a very powerful speech is for it to come from real life, from a place that matters to you, and the heroism, the sheer, unadulterated heroism of your brother provide an extraordinary opportunity for you to honour him and to be in the moment of the drama that he faced on numerous occasions, this one you shared with us. So it is always smart, intelligent to speak of a true event, and the meaning will come from that. Unsung heroes, very truly, you spoke of the conundrum of comparable UN forces, health forces, who are there to provide a service, but they witness the horror, the utter horror of a war environment where there are no rules. One's memory remains that there are no rules. So my absolute salute to you in terms of creating that conundrum, pointing out that conundrum of people who are placed there who are not military, but are caught in the dilemma. And the second dilemma that you spoke of was that where a person serves, and to stay is to save lives. And you spoke of those 4 children whose lives were saved by your brother's determination to stay, which meant he defied orders, as did those with whom he worked. So one's heart, it becomes very warm and admiring of such an attitude. These are conundrums of war for those who serve. You are wonderful in your gestures. May I point out, they're the conundrums I admire, but you're also wonderful in your gestures. You indicate the 4, when you spoke of the child who died, your hand went to your heart. These gestures mirrored what you said. May I point to 2 things that you may well consider in the future. Samantha, you are very capable in your use of words, and in your pausing was perfect. You emphasise the drama by pause. However, sometimes when we get very concerned about those words, you lose the fluidity of the story or of the gestures, of the movement. And so it seems to me if you rehearsed somewhat more, those words are there anyway. The fluidity of delivering to your audience would have been in evidence. Whereas there was some sort of static in your movements, some sort of static, that's all. So, my respects to you, Samantha. Thank you for a very fine speech which will remain with us, each of us, after this night. Thank you.
I'm going to start this, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Renee Silva. Renee Silva.
Samantha, firstly, let me thank you for taking the time, for being here tonight, and for an excellent speech that you gave us this evening. what I noticed first up, and immediately, was a strong opening that your speech had. You were here, and you asked us to think, what would we do if we were faced with such a situation that your brother was? And then you paused, and you let it sink in. And there's an important lesson in that here for all of us. It's the strength of having a strong opening in whatever you're doing. Right? First impressions, lasting impressions. Suppose if you're going for a contest scenario, you certainly can't win it in the opening, but you can certainly lose it without a strong opening, and Samantha had a very strong opening. Also, you have a great natural asset, and it's the strength of your voice. It was strong, it was powerful, it was confident, and you use that to full effect. And what we can take out of this over here, all of us Toastmasters, is play to your strengths. If you've got strong vocal variety, use that vocal variety. If your voice is strong, project your voice out over there. I have a recommendation for you, Samantha, and what I would like to have seen you do a little bit more for a serious speech like that, and I thought it would really improve the impact of what you have to say, was approach the audience a little bit more. I felt that your movements sort of vary from side to side over here, and then later on in the speech, it took a spot over here and moved it side to side. I'd like to have really seen you come forwards a bit more and engage the audience. I think that would really improve the impact of what's already a very, very strong speech. I've also noticed that you have a great way with words as well. You're very good at using the English language. And I felt that your use of pauses as well and vocal variety. When you mentioned bullets, for example, going past out over there, I felt like I was in that war zone sitting out here in my spot in front, that there were bullets flying past me as well. So, in summary, what I would like to say is, you had a great opening, you have a great voice which you use to full effect. In future, using that flow space a little bit more, especially forwards on yourself and engaging with the audience. But great vocal variety, great use of the English language, very confident, very clear. Really enjoy what you have to say tonight, and I hope I'm lucky enough in the future to hear you speak once again. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Samantha, thank you for an enthralling speech. I was really captivated by what you were saying, and I'm sure the rest of the audience were as well. One thing I really liked about what you did was your structure. You had very, very clear opening, a very strong body, and a very clear conclusion. You started with, imagine if you will, and you brought us in with that. I think the audience would have heard that and come in and be part of your presentation. And you set the scene very, very nicely with a lot of attention. Talk about life and death situations. This was serious business you were talking about. And then you finished with a question. Nice way to finish. Who's your unsung hero? So again, relating to the audience. Something else I really liked was your vocal variety. And it wasn't just in volume and pitch, it was in the pacing. For example, you used the words short and shallow. Some nice gaps in between those words. And also later at the hospital, a pause. And you wait. Pause. Very nicely done, added attention. A couple of things I would suggest is that the use of the stage. You were on this side of the stage for most of the talk. You realise that? And I think the audience, the people over that side, were a little bit away from you. You could have started in the middle, or at least come across and used it. We went to that other side eventually. But think about that. And also, you tend to nod quite a bit, and I wasn't sure at different times if you were making a point with that. It didn't seem to be quite in sync with the speech. Just think about that. Not a major issue, it's just something to think about going forward. The gestures were something else I really liked as well. Very, very clear gestures. For example, you said the one hand and then the other. Not overdone, but nicely done. Very clear. And you later mentioned the light bulb. And we even got the twist. Did you notice that? You got the twist of the light bulb. I really like that. So, very nicely done. I enjoyed it. A very, very strong speech. It brought us in. A couple of the things that I like very much were the structure. Very, very strong structure. The vocal variety, and not just the volume and pitch and things like that, but the pacing. Excellent. A couple of things to keep in mind were the use of the stage. It's your stage, and you can use it as you will. And just the nodding, not a major issue, but keep that in mind. And another point I really did enjoy were the gestures, used very well and very, very intelligently and nicely done. So I really enjoyed it. I'd love to hear more stories about your brother going forward, and very much enjoyed and enthralled by the presentation. Thank you. Deborah Rocky.
It is always a great pleasure to come up here and evaluate someone. It takes a lot of guts to get up here in front of all you people, especially to a strange crowd, and present a speech. So congratulations to Samantha on her coming forward today. Samantha told a very, very personal and poignant story tonight about her brother and the trials that he went through in Sudan, bullets flying past his head, and a very, very touching story. Samantha used great vocabulary throughout her story, great vocal variety, very expressive, really drew you into the story. So it was a great way of expressing the story. She was confident, the speech was well constructed, had a great opening, fabulous body, and then that very emotional conclusion. The point of improvement I would say for Samantha would be the pauses. She had great pauses throughout her story, but sometimes just a little bit too long. Made the audience sit on the edge waiting for the next words to come from her. So just a little bit shorter for your speech, for your pauses, Samantha. And also, when you're standing, you tend to stay a little bit riveted to the spot a bit. So move around the room, engage the audience a little bit more. But all in all, it's a fantastic, well-constructed story with a lot of emotion, great vocal variety, and a lot of expression and a warm story. It was full of original thoughts. Next time, just use shorter pauses. Move around the room just that little bit more to engage your audience. But thank you very much for a great, interesting, and well-told story.
Craig Cove.
Thank you, Samantha. I thoroughly enjoyed your speech tonight. The way you started, imagine, you really captivated the audience with the opening. Really brought us into that Sudanese desert environment. And I thoroughly enjoyed the confident, articulate, and thoughtfully presented presentation that you gave. You were very composed. You had a great conversational voice. And that made your speech very believable and authentic. It actually drew the audience in. Your eye contact was excellent. Very intimate and good connection with the audience. And your words were very vivid. I could really imagine myself in that Sudanese desert. And your use of silence and pause was excellent, really enhanced your message. Some recommendations. The stage presence. You made some very short movements at a certain point in time. It was half a metre. I'd suggest that if you are going to move, really own your moves. Perhaps move 2 or 3 steps, really own that stage and present your presentation and have that impact, those clear, sharp, direct movements. Secondly, recommendation for improving vocal variety and the use of modulation. You maintain a very comfortable and pleasant to listen to voice, but you could potentially at some key points really raise the voice a little bit higher to maybe accentuate certain aspects of the speech, drive home a key message. The voice is a very powerful method of delivering communication. It's just a technique you can use to enhance your speech. So overall, very self-confident, and you've used some great terms of phrase, unique terms of phrase, good control of message, sincere presentation, and good finesse in vivid words. Just remember the stage presence, okay, 2 or 3 strong, sharp movements in between your points, and of course vocal variety and the voice projection to really deliver the message with poison and power. So well done, Samantha. Thoroughly enjoyed your speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, your contestants in the evaluation. Participation certificates, and then I'll give you a quiet ribbon, okay? No problem. In no particular order. Renaud. Thank you very much. Craig. Gary. And Deborah. George, I didn't leave you the last one. Okay, so evaluation contest is quite stressful. You can sit out there, particularly Craig, sit out there while everybody else can feel it. So Craig, what was going through your mind? Or you sit there on your own waiting to come in?
Well, you may not be able to hear it here, everyone, but there's a little lesson going on just in the room adjacent to you. Some trombone. Tuba. So that was really mellow mood. Just kept me focused on the presentation.
I know it can be quite a stressful way to have everything to myself undercost. But well done. You had a lovely smile. It's actually relieved to be in. So well done, Craig. So Renaud, I know you're a runner because I've seen it on your Facebook page.
That's correct, yes. We're doing a bit of Facebook stalking, obviously.
Yeah. Quietly in the background.
That is correct. It is one of my serious passions in life. All my friendships and great friendships have been derived through. It's a great activity. It is a great sport filled with great people. And if you've never experienced it yourself, or if anyone here has been thinking about it, I'd encourage you to please give it a shot. It's the most supportive environment you can find, and yeah, and I'm proud to be one.
So tell me, what's the thing you're most proud of in terms of achieving as a runner?
The proudest, well, it's the dedication more than anything. Like it's the 100K weeks that you're going to train. It's the double workout sessions a day. It's the race you follow yourself around the country to Tasmania, to Sydney, etc., etc. So I would say it's the dedication. I'm proud of being able to live the disciplined lifestyle that it demands of you.
You've inspired me. 100K weeks, my God. No wonder you look so fit, mate. So well done. So Paul. part of the contest. But why evaluation?
I just go for any contest, really, Greg.
Yeah.
It's good to be part of the activity, I think, and the contest is there, so I think we'll just go for it. I enjoy evaluating. I like evaluating. And I like speaking generally, but that's the one that I enjoy as well as any other. So, yeah, I thought one
So
other.
it's the competitive spirit, is that what you're saying?
Just participation, really.
Participation. So you're not a runner then?
I used to be, Greg.
Yeah.
I was comparing my action. You were comparing yours to the start of my action. Yeah, I was with Don Castro at Bunny Club and when I was with Sam. So we're going to have another chat later on.
I'll leave you both to that. That'll be fine.
I'm not talking about anything with your own account.
No, I hope not. Oh, but sorry, Renee. So Gary Harkins. No, that's just nothing fascinating out there. You're just lost in the moment. So Gary, you've been a Toastmaster for a while. So you're famous for the Toastmasters. Did you know that? No? So you're famous for your humorous speeches in particular. And Gary's been very, very successful in humorous contests over the years. So Gary, why evaluation?
Well, I was able to combine both skills you just mentioned as we were sitting in the room here before, as silence descended upon the room as we were all studiously writing our notes. And I said, I've got a point for improvement. I regaled the audience and I said, it was a speech that lended itself to humour. I'm going to say that. Humour in it. But unfortunately, no one after me picked up that I think you could have done this all humour. But mind you, Paul was much better. He's not who I thought would be the footies. Praise improvement, praise, what's the other one?
So these are some of the tricks that contestants experience. So what's the question? That's all I never wrong.
I have no idea. No idea.
So what do you think was the strongest part of your message?
Getting off the floor.
I know you love to do evaluation. You should put your hand up inside the pub all the time to be an evaluator, whether it's speech or table topics or general evaluator. So what is it about evaluation? It must do something. It must give you a feeling.
I think it's really lovely to be able to give feedback to other speakers. I think it's extremely important to any public speaker to get feedback from myself and to be able to give that feedback to other people as well. Because we can only grow from the feedback we receive. So positive or negative feedback is always good.
Thank you. So George, last of this one. So George, you're very experienced. So how do you approach an evaluation process? That's nice turning.
How do I approach it? First and foremost, with the idea of helping the speaker. And we have a wonderful process for giving feedback. It actually works in shops as well, by the way, if you're not happy with it. That feedback is praise, improvement, praise, and summary. And I've said before that if you don't give all these things to a speaker, I feel you're cheating that speaker. So my first and foremost thing is to make sure I do that, including the summary. And tonight, for the first time, I actually spent a little bit more time in the summary than usual. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, because typically I see the red letter, four letters, I must hurry up. So yes, that's how I approach it.
Very, very well controlled tonight.
Well, the difficulty I have is actually trying to keep a little bit lighthearted, because I'm so concentrated on the things I've just told you about, that sometimes I may appear a little bit stale, and that's something I need to work on.
I prefer to call it intense.
Okay.
Intense. Thank you. So, hopefully you won't have to speak for any more than a couple of minutes. Indeed. What would you like to speak about? I'm just joking. So, Samantha's speech. Tell me a little about what you were feeling as you were listening to that speech and going through looking for evaluation.
I think it was an exceptional speech that created such a moment, a dramatic moment. So I was in there, like each of the evaluators described. The entry into the story was so powerful, and we all read about this every day, these atrocities, the worst things that are happening. So I was totally in the speech, but because we're all experienced in looking for qualities to a speech, I then was looking at what is she doing that's making it so powerful? You know, the intro, the question and so on. And it was easy. It was easy to really hit on what is making this so successful. So this was a very fine speech to evaluate. I thought there's a lot of mileage to feed back to it. And I was in the privileged position of listening to others. That's where Craig missed out. He has the way to not benefit from the others' evaluations. I thought everyone did really, really well in being succinct and accurate in their feedback. So I thought it was a privilege to be in here to listen to the evaluations. But certainly it was a privilege to hear your speech tonight.
And Craig, don't worry, the movie will be really short.
That's right.
So Andrew, it's also a privilege for you, I think, as a speaker. Any speaker who comes along to a contest and who gets 7 evaluations that are all hitting some similar points, but many of the evaluators tonight are hitting very different points that they were giving back to Samantha. That feedback from a speaker's perspective is truly invaluable. So it's the reward for courage being here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, your contestants, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third place tonight in the Sandbell Postmasters Evaluation Contest is Renee DeSilva. Our second place tonight is George Randall. Our first place in the evaluation contest tonight goes to Paul Marnie. One of these is yours.
Is that the right one?